Hi, I'm Mitch Shoemaker, and today is day 30 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on my writing. So, yay, I made it to day 30, 70 days to go. I cannot wait to be done. I wish that meant I was done having to make YouTube videos and being done with my goals, but I know the whole point is to keep building, to continue to improve myself and my writing and my abilities, and sharing my experiences along the way in hopes that other people that are struggling can see that it works, that there's a way up, there is a way out, there is hope. That is my thing. I should put that on my board because I see that all the time. Anyway, so today I've been extremely lazy. I did add a new thing to my board today, which looks really amazing. I wish I brought my board over here so I could show it to you, but it's really amazing. And I did it kind of backwards, which was kind of fun. And by backwards, I mean I came up with a saying, and my friend helped me with the saying. And then I flipped it so that the top part of the saying was at the bottom and the bottom part was at the top. So that's what I meant by backwards. And I can't remember it, but it was, I think, emotions are strong, and that one ended up on the bottom. I am stronger, and that was kind of in the middle. And I am strongest with God's help, and that one was like kind of towards the top. And then at the top, above everything, it says, with God, I can conquer anything, which is cool. So, and of course, it's like the picture of a woman standing in front of silhouettes of, I guess it would be like a silhouette of God, but it's more like a silhouette of a man with the big muscly arms doing a little arms up thing, showing off the muscles. Anyway, it looks really cool on my board. I'm very excited about it. I'm gonna have to rearrange my board. I started rearranging my board a little bit, driving my friend crazy. She's just like, "Hey, you're gonna change it again, aren't you?" She's like, "Just get used to where it's at." And I'm like, "I will for now." But it was kind of a reminder to me that I'm very picky. I'm very particular about things, and I'm also grateful for my friend who is very patient with me and that is allowing me the opportunity to be myself, to change my mind, to move things around. So if something's not working a certain way, I can change it, I can move it, I can add to it, I can take stuff away from it. It doesn't have to be set in stone. And I really like that it doesn't have to be set in stone, because I think I grew up in like a black and white world where everything had to be set in stone. You said something and that was it. Can't change your mind. Nothing's different. You're stuck with it. I remember getting a puppy when we were kids. Cute little puppy. I don't remember picking out a black one. I thought I picked out one of the brown ones, the puppies, when we went to get the puppies. Because we got to look at them when they were like newborn puppies before their eyes were even open. And then we got to go back and get them when they were like 6 weeks old. And then we went back and we got a black one. And I was like, I don't remember the black one. I wanted the brown one. But apparently I picked the black one, so I was stuck with the black one. I wasn't allowed to change my mind. But they had other ones. The lady there was like, oh, yeah, this one hasn't been picked or whatever. And I was like, nope, you're stuck. You're stuck. I was like, oh. So not that I didn't love the black dog. Don't get me wrong. I did. It's very, very sad when he was gone. Actually, I don't know. It was sad because when my parents got divorced, my biological mom made my biological dad take the dog, which was very sad because I think we would have preferred to keep the dog as kids. And my biological dad took about as good a care of the dog as he did as us, and the dog ran away, which was sad because we'd go over there and ask where the dog was, and that was the only point of going over there. Once the dog was gone, yeah. But hopefully he found a nicer home. Someone took care of him, and he was able to die happy and not get run over or whatever. I don't know. But I feel bad for the dog. I wish he would have found his way back to our house, but he probably had no idea where that was at. Anyway, I don't know why I'm randomly telling that story. Very random sometimes. Probably because I was just working on recognizing God's hand in my life, and just a lot of memories of my childhood and stories, and trying to figure out which stories to tell and what order to put them in. And I kind of went back to the chapters that I did yesterday thinking that I needed to make some major changes. And then I read through it and I was like, no, I'm just going to delete this paragraph. I'm just going to rephrase this. And I actually like what I did. This is good. This is cool. We'll move on. I have no idea what I was thinking with the rest of that book. I started scrolling through it and I was like, oh my gosh, trying to read. And I literally started like 3 chapters the same way. And I ended up deleting an entire chapter because it was like a page and a half. And I already put like 85% of that in something I already did. So it was completely redundant. There was no point in having it there. And I was like, why is this here? This doesn't even make sense. This entire story is rewritten and rephrased somewhere else. It's already done. It's already told. So I was like, and it's history. So I still haven't exactly figured out what I want to do next with the story. Because I mean, I do want it to kind of flow and to make some sense, but I'm not really sure where to go. I think I have to go backwards a little bit again, which is kind of frustrating, but I think I need to. Yeah, that's probably what I need to do. And the problem is that I have like 3 chapters that all start with the same story. Like the next 3 chapters all start with the same story. And I'm like, the chapter isn't about the same thing, but they all start with the same story. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I only need the story once in the whole book. I don't need it like 3 times in my book. So I've been really lazy today. As I mentioned, I hung out with my friend and then I needed to do my writing and go to work because I did not have a very successful work night last night, and I have a bunch of bills that are coming out of my account on Friday, so I have 2 days to come up with all that money. So I got to go to work, and instead of going to work, instead of doing anything productive, I basically sat on my couch for 3 hours playing games. Not the wisest decision. I think when I get stressed about something or I don't want to face things, I just kind of avoid it. I play games, I do other things, and I don't know why I do that. I wish that I would not. I wish those default settings would go away. I wish I would just be like, hey, I'm done playing stupid games. But I did have a thought today, a random thought today, that I feel like I'm done fighting. Maybe I need to stop fighting. Maybe that's the thought that I'm having, because I feel like I've been hitting my head up against a wall a lot, especially with all of the stuff that I've been doing. And I just want to stop. I just want to stop hitting my head up against the wall. I want to stop pushing. It's hard. It's very hard. And I don't know if it's a good thing to stop or a bad thing to stop. I don't want to stop doing my videos. I don't want to stop my writing. I like my writing. I think writing is very good and very positive and very beneficial for me. I think doing these videos helps me to track my progress. If nothing else, my friend watches my videos and tells me the progress that I'm making. So I'm like, yay. And hopefully at some point these videos will be beneficial to other people, like ideally other people that I don't know, random strangers will start watching my videos, will learn something from it. It will be beneficial. That's the whole point, is not to keep it to myself, but to share it, to put it out there, to be like, hey, this is me, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I'm going through, so that when you're watching this video and you can see the changes that I'm making because of the positive choices that I'm making, and because of where my focus is, that you can, follow the example, the pattern, whatever in your own life towards whatever goals or things that you want to do, and track your own changes and know that it's possible to do that. Some people, unlike me, grow up learning how to do goals, set goals. They're very good at being goal-oriented and working through things, and they're very motivated, self-motivated people. I am not one of those people. Self-motivation eludes me constantly, and I understand that happens a lot with people that have had traumatic experiences, especially traumatic childhoods, that being self-motivated to do things is very difficult. So I think it kind of goes in extremes, though, because I have sisters that are like super motivated. They set goals and they're just like all over that. And I was like, and I am so the opposite. But I think to them, it's like if they can fix it, if they can do it, if whatever, they put all of their focus into that, so they don't have to deal with their feelings and they don't have to deal with the trauma and the whole perfectionism thing, that they're going to do it and they're going to do it perfectly. And then of course they show it off to everybody. Look how wonderful I am, and self-esteem boost. Awesome. I I'm the complete opposite. I don't want people to see anything that I'm doing, and I wish to hide in my little room and disappear and, you know, imagine how amazing I am in my head, but nobody else gets to know how amazing I am because that's just too scary, and because it would burst my bubble because I'm not an amazing person. Um, those are the insane thoughts that run through my head, I think. But today I was talking to my friend and she was telling me how much I was changing. And then I like how she kind of changed it, that maybe I wasn't changing so much as I think what I said to her wasn't so much that I'm changing so much as I'm not hiding as much anymore. I am allowing who I've always been to come out, to shine through, to allow other people to see me, because I'm not afraid of myself anymore, because I'm viewing myself through God's eyes instead of through like my biological parents' eyes or my ex's eyes or or what I imagine other people see me, because I viewed myself based on how I was treated growing up. I'm like, if I'm being treated this way, there's something wrong with me. I did something bad. I'm a horrible person. And I'm not really a horrible person. I'm like, I can't find anything that horribly wrong with me. I'm not perfect by any means. I am so not saying I'm some perfect saint person, whatever. But I mean, I'm not like some, I don't know, I'm not some mass murderer either. You know, I'm like, I don't run around doing a bunch of bad, horrible things. I don't steal. I don't break other people's things. I don't have like a long list of horrible things I've done. The worst I've done is I've hid in my room. I've, maybe lied a little bit. I've, avoided people, situations, not followed through on stuff that I said I was going to do, been really lazy. Like, not the end of the world. Lots of people are like that. I struggle with communicating. I suck at communication. One of those things I'm not very good at. I'm very slow. My brain takes a while to process things. It's like, oh, does this work? Does this not work? That's why I think I'm very picky, or why I constantly change my mind, because my brain doesn't always process things right away. And I look at it, I'm like, okay, that looks good right now. And then I think about it, like, no, I don't really like that. I like it this way better, or this way. And I love having options. Growing up, I used to hate having options because I always felt like I had to make the right choice. And it had to be one that everybody else approved of. And I love doing this board with my friend because she always reminds me that she wants me to be happy, and it doesn't matter. Like, this is her opinion, but she's like, I can do whatever I want because it's my board and it's for me, so that I get to be happy. And I was like, oh, cool, it's for me. I like me. I mean, I like other people's opinions too, because sometimes I need a little help making up my mind, or I'm like, this looks good, right? Like, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe you have another idea of something else, and sometimes just seeing someone else's idea is like, oh, I like that better. Let's go with that. And I'm cool with that. I like that I can do that. I like being able to bounce ideas off of other people. I think that's a good way to learn to see things from a different perspective, so it doesn't always have to be what I think and what I see. That's why I like the whole beta reading thing that I didn't think I would like, because it gives me an idea as to what my readers want in a book, like how to write to readers, because I don't know how to do that. Honestly, the first book I wrote was so not writing to readers. I just wrote it to write the story for me, and it doesn't make sense to anybody else. And sometimes now going back trying to read it doesn't make any sense to me either. So I'm just like, this is not okay. So it's good that I'm learning that I can get feedback from other people, and that I can use it to improve myself or improve my writing, or just be like, oh, that's so cool. I wish I'd thought of that. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. I love this. So I'm much more open, I think, to that than thinking my way is the only way, because that's what I grew up with. It was, that way. There's only one way of doing things. My biological dad was very much like, there's only one way of doing it, and it was his way, nobody else's way. There was no other way. There was no other option. The only problem is he didn't always express what his way was, so when you did it wrong, you were in big trouble because you did it wrong. But he never showed you how to do it right. That was just, you were just supposed to know that. I have yet to be a mind reader, and I have yet to just know how to do something the first time I've tried it. I have never succeeded at that, which may be why I choose not to do things, or have chosen in the past not to do things. So this is kind of very much outside of my comfort zone, very much doing a lot of growing. But realizing that as a child, as a little girl, I did want to do things. I had lots of goals and lots of dreams and lots of things that I forgot about or that I gave up on because I didn't feel like I was good enough or because it's not what anybody else wanted to do. So I didn't get to do it. I didn't get to try it. And now I'm learning as an adult, and I've heard that from going to 12 steps. And it's like, oh, you didn't get to do that? It's like, because I wanted to play the flute. And someone's like, well, learn how to play the flute now. And I was like, I don't really want to learn how to play the flute now. I want to learn how to play the flute when I was in elementary school. I'm not really into music anymore. I don't want to go learn how to play a new musical instrument now, which means I need to let that story go because it doesn't matter anymore. Maybe I'll put that in the next chapter of my book and then just say, I'm like, okay, it doesn't really matter anymore because I gave up music for lots of other reasons. But anyway, I can write about it. I can put it in my story and I can let it go because it doesn't matter. And if I choose at some point in my life that I want to learn how to play the flute, I can try to figure that out. But I don't know that I have, well, I was going to say I don't know that I have the stamina or motivation to practice every single day. And then I was like, and I'm doing these YouTube videos and writing in my books every single day. Of course I could practice every single day. If it was something I wanted to do and I wanted it badly enough, I could do it. But I'm not like in a band. I'm not in college or school or whatever anymore. So there's really no point to learn how to play a musical instrument unless I wanted to play in sacrament meeting or something like that. And I really don't like playing in front of people. I don't like speaking in front of people. I don't like being up in front of people, which I really don't like doing these videos for that very same reason. Although the videos, it is kind of nice because I'm just looking at myself and I don't have to imagine how many people are watching. And anyone that watches is going to do it individually on their own. And I don't necessarily have to hear their comments or feedback from my videos. So it's kind of a safer way to express myself or to share stuff than it is. And it does get it out of my head because I don't need to be spinning that stuff around in my head. So it's kind of a safer way of doing things. But again, there just, to me, doesn't seem a point to learn how to play the flute. But there is a point to forgive and to let go and to not keep carrying that around and being the elephant complainer that I was trained to be. Because what good is that going to do? It's not going to change my past. Nothing I say or do is going to change my past. But I can learn from it. I can look back and realize that I didn't experiment with things when I was growing up, but I'm an adult. I have no excuse not to. If I want to learn something new, if I want to try something new, if I want to do something different, I can try it. I can see. And there's some things, I didn't like when I was a kid that I may like as an adult, or some things I liked as a kid that I'm like, and I'm too old to do that now. Or I don't like that anymore. Or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. But I know it's going to take some time for me to get to where I have the energy and the money and the whatever to do that sort of a thing. Because right now I'm just like, I'm strapped for cash. I'm trying to pay the bills. I'm debating whether or not I want to get a different job because I'm just tired, and I'm tired of being tired, and I'm tired of hitting my head up against the wall. And I feel like I'm just constantly fighting, constantly struggling to just do every single day. And I keep waiting to wake up and be like, I'm ready for today. I want to face today, and I'm raring to go, instead of like it's a fight just to get out of bed. I'm like, nope, don't want to get out of bed. Nope, too tired. Nope, don't want to face today. I have tons of things to do today. No, I'm perfectly capable of doing all of them, knowing that God is there to help me do everything. And I'm just going to sit on my couch and play games on my phone and not do anything today. It's very, very frustrating to me. So I know it takes time. Change takes time. And I know I'm not necessarily going to change who I am at my core so much as I'm discovering who I am. I'm discovering who God intended me to be. And I'm learning to develop talents and abilities, things that He's given me, gifts that I have that other people have pointed out. And I've just been like, I don't think so. Or things that I've done, like journaling and writing my entire life, and never thought I was good enough because I don't know, because I always got corrected. Because someone else always did the work. Someone else's was always better. And I was just like, okay, it's just not worth it. because I grew up in that black and white world. If it wasn't perfect, if it wasn't the best, nobody noticed, nobody cared. Well, even if it was the best, nobody noticed, nobody cared. They only cared that it was subpar, and if it was subpar, they always pointed out everything, and I could never get it perfect enough. So, um, and as much as I loved my biological mom, she would always rewrite my story. So I would tell her a story, I would share it with her, she'd type it up, and then she would add little details, she would flip the sentences around, and they probably needed to be flipped around because my grammar is atrocious. But rather than teach me how to write the sentences correctly or type it up the way that I said to submit it, it was always, she would always rewrite it. And I still remember getting a grade back from a teacher. I think it was elementary school, like fifth or sixth grade maybe. I think it was sixth grade, creative writing class assignment. And I told her my story, and then she typed it up, and it came out a little differently than how I wanted it, but it was still the story. I turned in the assignment. I got a B. I didn't care. It wasn't my story. My mom rewrote it. But she looked at it, and she just sat there. She's like, B, huh? And she wasn't like at me, like disappointed in me. She was just, it was like this, and she didn't say anything other than just, huh? And I'm like, gay. But I got the feeling, the impression, and maybe it was just me and my misinterpretation, because I think I misinterpreted a lot. But she basically rewrote the story. She put in all the grammar. So either the teacher didn't like my story, or I didn't like her version of my story, or I don't know. I don't even remember. I think it was a silly story about polka dots. I was 12 or 11. I was probably 11. Silly story about polka dots. I don't know. But I just felt like her surprise, or her like, huh, was the disappointment that she didn't get a better grade because she wrote my story. And like, she was so excited to see the grade on my paper because she wrote it. She printed it out. And I mean, it wasn't her idea. It was my idea. And I told her like the order, the flow of the story, and then she typed it up. And a lot of people do that. I think that's what ghostwriting is, or something. People give you the ideas and you create the story based on the ideas or something. I don't know. I haven't actually done ghostwriting, so I'm making that up. Please don't quote me on that one. But I mean, I didn't have confidence in myself to feel like my writing was good enough, because she always rewrote it for me. And she did that all the way up like junior high school. So then it's like I get into college and I have to figure out how to write my own papers. I actually did okay writing my own papers. I survived. I got like A's and B's in my English classes in college. So I'm like, I did okay writing papers. Not that I did it perfectly, but I did okay. I managed to pass. So, and maybe if I'd spent that time developing my creative writing, taking writing classes, I could have improved my writing. But it never occurred to me to take writing classes in school because I didn't think I was good at it. But it never stopped me from daydreaming and creating stories in my head, because that was fun. And it was in my head, and nobody could see what was in my head. Nobody knew what was going on in my head. And I could create my own world. I could have my own emotions. Everybody responded the way that I wanted them to. And not that everything in my head was perfect, because, my life wasn't perfect. Perfect stories aren't entertaining either. You watch any kind of movie, there's always some kind of conflict. There's something that some character has to overcome. So mine always had to overcome something in my head. And then in the end, it was always, I was always the heroine. I was always the person that everybody loved and was so happy to have. But, they all hate me in the beginning. I don't know why that is. But it's interesting now that I am writing my stories, sharing my stories, that it's also allowing me to share myself, like who I really am, instead of hiding who I am and just opening up and sharing that as I share my stories, and not just what happened to me, but the stories that I'm writing. And then oddly seeing the parallel in my own character in this book. I'm like, I didn't even think this character was based on me, but apparently I come out in my stories because I write what I know or what I made up, and it's based, I guess, off of myself and my own emotions. So it's kind of interesting to see that in my stories. And I did work on Lanoya and the Teachers of Powers a little bit. I finally finished chapter 17 tonight. Didn't take me as long as I thought it would, which I was grateful for because, as I said, I should have been at work like hours ago. I should have been done with this video hours ago, or I should have done way more writing. So I'm going to work at this point in time. But didn't do either of one of those things. But I am grateful for my sponsor from my 12-step program. Her little thoughts that I'm like, I can start my day at any time. I can start my day over anytime. So it doesn't matter. I can start over. So if I'm having a bad day, or if I'm just having a moment, or I just need to sit and relax for whatever reason, it's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. And I'm grateful I don't have to beat myself up over it. I'm grateful that I can still go to work because I get to set my own hours. So that's a plus. If I got a different job, I wouldn't be able to set my own hours, and I would be kind of stuck having to fit a certain timeline, which might not be a bad thing. But it means having to hunt for another job in the middle of all this other stuff that I'm trying to do, and I'm already crazy. So, and I keep thinking, okay, I really just want to get paid to do my writing, and the only way that's going to happen is for me to get my books published. So that's what I need to focus on doing. Focus on going to work, getting my bills paid, focus on getting my books written, getting my books published, and then focus on marketing my books, because if I can market my books, then I can start making money off of my books. And I will need to continue to write and produce more books, because the more books that I produce, the more money I can make. And obviously, the more videos I produce, at some point, I might actually get monetized on YouTube, and the more money I can make off of my YouTube videos. So it's kind of a process, and it takes a long time to start making that money. And in the meantime, I either have to find another job, or I have to just continue doing the job that I'm doing. Just need to be more consistent at it, which is why I'm trying to set consistent hours. And it kind of works a little bit. I kind of like doing my writing before I go to work and doing my videos before I go to work, because it means there's only like the only two things I have to do when I get home is like write in my journal and brush my teeth, and I get to go to bed, which is cool. I don't have to come home and be exhausted and be like, I don't want to do anything. But I still procrastinate doing my writing, which procrastinates my work, which is not a good thing. So I need to figure out how to stay motivated. And the funny thing is I got up this morning, and the first thing I did was actually turn on my laptop, because I wanted to, because I turned it off last night to let it do all of the updates, and usually it takes forever to turn back on again, so I turned it back on again so it wouldn't be an issue when I went to write later, and then it just turned right on. It didn't have issues, and I'm like, cool. So now I want to look at my story, I want to pull this up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to get ready to go. I can't work on my stuff right now. And then when I had the time to work on it, I was like, no, I don't want to do it. So I don't know what to do with my brain. One of these days I'll figure it out, maybe. I don't know. I may always be a mystery to myself. But it's fun to just discover new things about myself. And I am grateful I did work on my writing, and that I can do this video, and that I can still go to work. And that's pretty much kind of where I'm at. I do think I said something about not fighting anymore at the beginning of my video. And I'm still not entirely sure. I think I've spent my whole life fighting against that, having to fight to be who I am, trying to get people to listen to me, to hear me, and then just shutting down and feeling like I'd lost the battle because no one was listening to me. And now I know that people are listening to me, that I can be myself, but I don't need to keep fighting myself. I don't need to keep fighting God. I don't need to keep hitting myself up against the wall. I'm like, I'm doing a good job. I've got tons of people telling me that, and I keep picturing myself being better, or keep seeing the idea of having to be perfect or something, and I think I just keep making things harder than they have to be, where I'm like, everything in my life is not hard. It's actually going pretty good. There's things I don't like about my life and my situation, but I mean, overall, things are actually good. I don't have any reason to go to battle with anyone, including myself or with God, and I think I keep looking for something to be wrong, and I keep telling myself I don't have to do that. That's the whole point of the gratitude videos that I did. I don't have to keep finding something to fight. I don't have to keep finding something I don't have to keep making a struggle out of everything. It's okay to just be okay. And I'm still learning to be at peace. I'm still learning to trust that all of these things are actually working out, and they're going to continue to work out. And I'm still struggling with that part. But I think if I could learn to surrender, if I could stop fighting myself and fighting God and just being like, okay, I'm just going to get up and I'm just going to do, and I'm just going to see what happens today. And it's just going to be okay. And I know it is because it has been, and it's been working every single day. I've been doing that and it's been working. And every single day I fight myself on it. And it's so frustrating to me. It's like, I don't have to keep turning this into a daily battle. I don't have to keep banging my head up against the wall. Everything is falling into place and it's okay. And it's going according to God's time and planning and whatever. And I can't force it. I can't make it go any faster. I can't just, take all the time off of work that I want to write my books because I can't afford to do that. So they have to wait for me to go to work. I have to work. I have to pay the bills. But I am still working on my books, even if it's just a paragraph like today, just a couple paragraphs in each book. But I worked on it, or a couple chapters depending on my day and my schedule. As long as I'm working on it every single day, it will get done. It just isn't going to happen when and how I want it to. And it may surprise me how quickly it gets done, or I may be disappointed that it's still not done at the end of my 100 days, because that would be cool. I'm like, I really want a book published at the end of my 100 days because I'm spending all this time writing and rewriting. It should be done. But I just finished chapter 17 in Illinois and the Teachers of Power, so I still have 5 chapters left to go, I believe, because there's 22 chapters. So I still have 5 chapters left to rewrite. So there's still revisions that I have to do. And obviously, I'm not going to do all 5 chapters in one night. That's so not going to happen, especially since it's towards the end because I feel like I made a lot of changes to the first 3 or 4 chapters. And then I think I just did some minor revisions to the middle stuff because there wasn't a lot to change or add. I did add some stuff. I did change a few things, but for the most part, I think it was pretty good the way it was. And now, because of the other stuff that I kind of added to the beginning, I want to add it to the end to kind of make the end make a little bit more sense, to kind of take a little bit more time to get to the end, instead of, and we're at the end and we're done, because I kind of just cut it off the end. But I want to transition it a little bit better. And I think what I wrote in chapter 17, or what I fixed, will actually help it to transition better. So I'm excited about that. But I need to carry that transition into the next couple of chapters. So I have more ideas for the next chapter. I think it's the next chapter. And it might be the next 2 chapters, or it might just be 1 chapter. So probably a lot more rewriting there. And possibly the last few chapters might require more. I don't know. The last chapter might require some more. But I think if I do it right in these couple of chapters, I won't have to do as much the last couple of chapters. I don't know. It's one of those things, I just don't remember what I wrote. One of those things, which I know is a blessing. It really is a blessing, because I can go back and read my work like it's a brand new something and be like, oh, cool. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wrote this. This is really good. I love that. Every time it surprises me that I wrote something, I think it's awesome. Because it just reminds me that I'm good at something, that I can do this, and it helps to boost my own confidence because I like what I did. Doesn't mean everybody else is going to like what I did, but I'm grateful that I like what I'm doing and that I can be proud of myself for what I'm doing. So that's good. And like tonight, I thought I was going to do more with recognizing God's hand in my life, and instead I'm just like, and I feel very overwhelmed because I started the same chapter. I started 3 different chapters with the same story. And I have no idea what I was thinking when I did that. And now I have to go back through and figure out what the heck I was thinking. Or I have to start from scratch and just write something new, which I can do. It's just not. It's just a little bit frustrating because it's not just rearranging a chapter or rewording things a little bit. It's literally like the same story for 3 chapters. So I get very repetitious, which I'm doing right now in my videos. I think I grew up doing that because I felt like people weren't listening to me. So I would repeat myself and repeat myself. And I don't need to keep repeating myself, but I haven't learned how to stop repeating myself. So more things for me to work on. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. But I am making progress. I'm making improvements. And I'm at least working towards my goal, which I'm very grateful that I can do, and grateful I can still remember to be grateful for things and to trust God to help me to get through all of these things, and hopefully to help me to just stop fighting myself and fighting what needs to be done, because there's no reason for me to keep resisting writing my books or resisting going to work or resisting doing my videos. That's just counterproductive is what it is, and it's exhausting. I'm just exhausting myself by fighting myself, by resisting the change. And I'm not really, it's not so much changing as it is just exposing who I am, of seeing myself for who I am, of allowing myself to be me and being okay with being me. And that's a great thing. It's an amazing thing. And I am actually a pretty great person, I think. But I don't feel like I don't want to be some boastful, crazy person. I'm not one of those. I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm conceited. I just feel like I'm gaining a different perspective. I'm seeing myself through God's eyes and seeing that I have gifts and talents and purposes in life, and knowing that I can do better at taking care of myself and using those gifts to help other people, because I like helping other people. I want to see other people be happy. I want to share the joy and the happiness that I have with others. I want them to be able to know that there's a way up, there's a way out, there is hope, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it is not a train. And I'm grateful that I know that I can do that I can share that, and that I have that ability in me to do it. It's amazing. It's, everyone needs to have that self-confidence, that self-awareness, but it also comes with knowing my limitations and knowing that I'm not perfect, that I can't do everything, that I need input from other people, that I can use other people's ideas, that I can share ideas with other people, that whole back and forth thing that I really like. So it's just a process. I'm still learning it. I'm still far from having mastered any of it, but I'm grateful I don't have to be perfect at any of this, that I can just, whatever works for me today works for me today. And I just need to remember to stay in today, to stop trying to figure out my future, which is what I keep doing, and to stop trying to resist doing what needs to be done, because I always feel better once I do it, and I enjoy doing it. So I don't know why I fight it and why I avoid it, because then I just feel bad about myself. So that's not good. I need to let that part of myself go. I need to just stop fighting and relax and just live my life and enjoy it. And that's what I think I need to do. Now I've said it. Whether or not I can actually do it is a whole other story. We'll add that to my list of things that I'm attempting to do, that I'm learning about myself while I'm doing my writing and doing these videos. So I am grateful for the things that I get to learn through my writing and through my videos. So even if I don't get a book published, at least I know that this isn't a waste of time for me, because I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm sharing my experience with other people. So I'm grateful for that too. And I think that's all I have for today. So if you hit like, subscribe. You can share with someone else if you think it'll help them too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude.